Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight here in this quick video. It's the last trading day of the month, so we ran our monthly scans. I got a couple ideas for you on buys and sells, which are interesting. Jay Powell came out with his reasons for not changing interest rates, no adjustment on interest rates. The market was really kind of excited about maybe potentially getting a rate cut. He did lay the I guess the letters on the table, so to speak. September is wide open if the data continues to be blah, blah, blah. We're data dependent. So deflationary numbers, weaker economic numbers, again, job numbers, which we have the weekly number tomorrow, Thursday, then the monthly unemployment report, affectionately known as the unenjoyment report. And that's on Friday. So bottom line, what's going on with this market? It is the mega cap mania week. We've had a lot of earnings that have hit the tape. We've gotten Tesla out of the way. We've gotten Google out of the way. We've gotten Netflix out of the way. We had an exciting trade tonight. We did in the live trading room, which I'm sure some of you guys, if you listen to these videos, you may have either tried the trading room before or not. But what we do is we put out trade alerts based on the texts that are in the room. It's really a phenomenal technology of the platform that we use for our live trading room. And we have three rooms going. We have our stock options, we have our algo, and then the E-minis for those that want to be catered to this PPS buy and sell signals that we look at for the Dow, the mini Dow that is, the ES, the NASDAQ, and then the Russell. All right, back to what we really cover is in equities and a lot of positions there. We did a broken wing butterfly, which will pay off as long as Meta stays, I don't care where it stays. It just above 495 right here by tomorrow. That'd be great. The current time is 5:52 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So what about tomorrow? So we've gotten all these reports. We've got the Federal Reserve out of the way, and we still got two big mamba jamba names coming out, maybe three if you want to consider Intel, but I don't. Amazon. So Amazon, they're looking at certain numbers now about their Amazon, the AWS cloud storage service. Cloud has not been doing that great, so I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's not that great either from some of the competing cloud storage firms, if it's them or if maybe is Amazon taking the market share. But here's an interesting situation. If you take a look at this daily chart, it looks like market went up. It's like almost every chart looks like this in technology. Market goes up, goes down, and gives a buy signal. What do we take a look at that? Market goes up, it's Tesla, gets a sell signal, and then gives a buy signal. I mean, all of these stocks are all interconnected. And when you take a look at like for Goog, same story. Sell signal, and then that's a high closed doji buy signal. So a lot of the stocks are all intertwined. And so it's it's interesting to note that MSFT is what I wanted to cover real quick. It's the only one that didn't give that buy signal, right? They all gave the same sell signal. Microsoft broke ranks. So tomorrow we have Apple, and my 2 cents is that Apple's got a chance to at least get back up to the 229. That's a $7 move, not a big deal. Tonight we had NVIDIA. And another trade that we did, a really successful trade, was we told people based on this sell signal here to be short the market, but to buy puts and or do put spreads. And we covered half of them. And we also bought, using those put options as a gamma scalp in the extended hours last night. We went into and bought NVIDIA against the lows. So this is the kind of stuff. And we posted this and sent text alerts via the live trade room. So these are some of the neat things that we've put out, because these markets are moving. As you can see, the volatility of these swings. And when it comes to earnings, we get all these kind of exciting moves. So what about tomorrow? So forget about what we did yesterday. That was yesterday. What about tomorrow? We've got Amazon coming out, AMZ, I said, there we go, Amazon. So Amazon, what the options are fairly expensive, and then again, my 2 cents is real simple. Instead of using like maybe an outright option as a gamma scalp, which basically I'm not going to get into that lesson right this second, but many of you know what I'm referring to. Just quickly, you buy a call if the stock in the extended hours, because options don't trade overnight. If the stock is deep in the money, you can sell the stock against your long call and then trade that long stock, and then you still retain the right of all the advantages of owning the long call option, for example. So if you bought a call option at, let's say, a 190 call in Amazon, and well, the extended hours, the stock goes to 205. You can sell 205, and if the market pulls back to 200, you buy back the short stock trade, right? Sell 205, buy 200. Okay, you made $5 on that quick trade against your long call, no risk. If you sold it, let's say 205, and the stock goes to 220, well, you got a problem. No, you don't. You're still long the call from 190. It just pretty much offsets each other. If you do the correct ratio, like, for example, one option to 100 shares of stock. So some people can't do that with a stock like Amazon. You need a lot of capital to finance that type of trade. But that's what a lot of times we're able to do with these extended hour moves. All right, now back to reality. Here we have Amazon, and with Amazon, I'm expecting a little more bullishness out of the market temporary. So I think that possibly if instead of doing a gamma scalp because it's way too expensive, possibly looking at depending on how we open tomorrow and then the weekly job number. But I would anticipate the market to get back to a minimum objective of around 194 up against that resistance, 193 and 194. Not a big trade. And structure a trade around that for the August 2nd expiration. I mean, Apple and Amazon. Apple, this is like an eye test. They're exact same charts. They had the exact same sell signal, the exact same buy signal. Apple, Amazon. Apple, Amazon. Which one do we prefer? I mean, you could do them both, but I think Apple's probably dependent on its iPhone sales, and I haven't bought a new iPhone. I don't know what you guys. And in China, Qualcomm's earnings came out, and they said they're selling a lot of chips and there's huge demand in China, but they're not just buying Apple, they're also buying Samsung and others. So Huawei, for example. So, but Apple, they didn't invest in a lot of AI. So looking at this particular trade, it's a little bit confusing because it just doesn't appear to me with the longer term volume decay and this like shooting star type pattern or long shadow here. If we get up to 229-ish, that's $7 from here, another $7 move, I'd be more apt to be a seller or a buyer of a put or maybe credit call spreads there on Apple. My 2 cents is overall market is that now that we've gotten the bulk of the mega cap earnings out of the way, and then we're going to head into, more data dependency. August is usually a rough month on top of it. If we get back into this range up in here, 58, maybe possibly 56 to somewhere to, all right, 556 to 560 area in the SPY, I'll be more inclined to be a buyer of puts going into September. That's where I feel. That doesn't help us for the nightly report, apparently. I get that. But I think it sets us up that we're maybe see some short-term upside and then look for this market to rotate right back down again in the month of August. All right, so let me give you some concrete things. This is a really wimpy kind of trade, but Scott's Miracle Grow, a high close doji on a monthly basis with improved outlook. Longer term, someone's been looking to establish long positions. I wouldn't say buy it here at 79, but pullbacks over the next month, and then these are my monthly signals right here. And so we'll focus on the monthly chart. Any small pullback at 75, the risk is manageable. You can see it clearly, that white line in the sand. You don't want to see the market down there. Institutional or higher time frame momentum of volume has been very positive there. And this particular setup here gives you about a $15 objective to the upside from, let's say, $95, maybe test into that 93 to 95 zone over the next few months. The other one is a company many of us won't use in the state of Florida. It's called North Face, and North Face VF Corp is the parent company for North Face. It's just, I mean, you got to say, wow, talk about a debacle, right? So in the retail space, I think that we still have a need for outdoor wear, outdoor gear. Deckers gave everyone an insight that hookah was a big brand they were selling, as well as Uggs. But I think this might be worth a shot. It's a very small risk. It's manageable. It's certainly under everyone's radar. Nobody's probably going to be looking much at this particular stock on a retail apparel. But as I may remind everyone, nobody was looking at Abercrombie and Fitch either, and how the hell did that go? So you never know what the true trend of finicky investors will be, but I think it's worth a shot down there. It's a name brand company. The next one that was not interesting, it's an old name for us. We bought it down here on that high close doji, that orange candle pattern's a high close doji, is Truist Financial Regional Bank. So if you take a look at the KRE had a big breakout, and minimum objective, you got to say you're going to go back and test before the debacle of Silicon Valley Bank. Remember that? All the regional banks are going out of business. Silicon Valley Bank had bad hedges on their client deposit money, or they were not hedged properly, and they had invested in swaps, and that whole story there. Well, all right, nobody wants to invest in regional banks until maybe perhaps the truth is that the Fed really is closer to lowering interest rates, and there isn't as much real estate exposure now as time has passed since then. And so bottom line, you can, I'm not telling you to buy it today right here in the KRE at this level. You want to see a pullback in the market, and I think a reasonable pullback, something for the next 30 days, as tonight's video covers the end of the month signals. That looks pretty interesting to me. All right, so here's what we have on the downside. CMG. It might be blasphemy to say, look, it's a sell signal. It's an epic sell signal. And, I mean, it's probably projecting a move to 43 over the next few months. Dell Computers. CDW came out with poor earnings. Dell Computers, another a gap below the market here. Minimum objective, I mean, Dell could easily pull back to 88 if we have a rally up against this month's range. I mean, a small rally up in here. I think rallies are going to be sold versus dips to be bought right now. That's how I would play that. Here is CDW. If you're not familiar with that company, they package commercial and wholesale hardware, software, computer needs for businesses, governments, and all kinds of entities. That's a sell signal of epic proportion again. And when you take a look at the actual volume momentum reading, it's a negative, what we call a bearish divergence pattern. So there might be more relative weakness in the hardware sector in the coming weeks ahead. So one that's probably already just too late to sell short, and who cares? It's Ford, and who cares because it's a $10 stock. I mean, where's it going to go? $9.50. So, but it does kind of give you the feeling that major sell signals have come into play on weakening volume structure. Looking at GM, did not generate a monthly sell signal, but I'm at the very least would suspect that we should see maybe a contraction in new car sales. Now, speaking of car sales, CVNA Carvana had a record-breaking sales. Their earnings were off the chart. Stocks up 16%. I didn't participate in this trade, but I'm just saying there seems to be a very select specific stock picking environment. And of any car manufacturer, new car that is, that you would say, what about Tesla? What does it look like? And so maybe consumers were buying through Carvana, and that's one thing. KMX, I'll just get onto this subject. CarMax is, as you know, a used car dealer as well. They didn't see the type of success of sales relative to expectation on their earnings that Carvana did. So consumers are buying used cars. They're not everyone running out buying brand new cars, and certainly not the EVs. And so where does that leave Tesla? We traded Tesla very successfully, and at this point, at the end of the month, it backed well off its highs. And for me, I think in the near term, and that would be in the next 4 to 6 weeks, the near term, we do see a pullback again in Tesla. If Friday, and I'll probably forget to update this, but if I do, I'll make a mental note and a written note. If Friday we close below the weekly open, which is, say, the exact number for the weekly open is 224.90, a close below that open on a Friday basis, it does signal another decline, or at least follow through relative weakness immediately. And volume was not positive on this last little rally, so it could be just a short-term plop before we get a maybe late summer, early fall decline in the market. So that's what we're looking at. Chipotle Mexican Grill on the downside, Ford, Dell, CDW, and again, as I just shared with you, a lot of the stocks on this that we have coming out, including specifically Apple and Amazon, man, very, very ironic, very similar tales, and even Tesla, from buys to sells. So my 2 cents is you get one more last hurrah to the upside in the market. You could trade Amazon two ways. You could trade it for a short-term Friday pop, or wait till after earnings and then see if we do get maybe a short-lived pop and a flop. By the way, a short-term pop and a flop looks like AMD. Opens higher, trades lower, didn't have the kind of mustering strength off a very strong earnings report, which is kind of interesting. So, but these are the kind of things that I think we should look for. And if you want more real trade recommendations that we do during the day, come into the live trading room, sign up. You go through personsplanet.com. Just get a free trial. You'll see what we do there, and you can actually see all the trades that we put out, which are pretty wild. Thanks for listening today, and I hope that gave you insights at the overall market. Once again, I think that the breadth of the market was pretty good, but the overall, I don't think the overall seasonal correction is done to the downside. So once we get through the mega cap earnings, especially this week, then we're left to the market to trade off of really not much, except for I guess Middle East fears, which are mounting, and again the whole, and I hate to say it, the election cycle worries. Thanks everybody. Have a great afternoon.